Go. 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 Surrounded by sleepwalkers and NPC, they all around us. But I be like, why can't you see? Empty seat, I'm gently mean. My soul's clean, no NPCs on the team. Living in this reality like an empty dream. Yeah. They walk among us, they try to run us. Yeah. Empty souls in the deep roads, up mind in the line, hive mind, only thinking on one side. Believing lies, war on the mind, one of a kind, mankind, undivine, walking dead, yeah. Blinded in the third eye, eating GMO foods, especially that red dye. No surprise, brain shut off, totally blind, like closed blinds. Dark and empty like an apartment, no lights on. Empty always echoes in the stairs, brain dead. Look into the eyes, they stare. Look at them hard, no soul is there. Eyes glare, emptiness lies deep. Hollow vacant space, dead and empty street is where their soul meets. Their minds on repeat, reoccurring cycles. Yeah, man in the mirror like Michael, no action, no questions asking. Just walking, leaking dead batteries, leaking acid. No cares, living in complete fear. Sleepwalkers and NPCs near. Surrounded by sleepwalkers and NPCs, they all around us. But I be like, why can't you see? Empty seats, I'm gently mean. My soul's clean, one two C's on the seat. Living in this reality like an empty dream. No NPCs on the team. Living in this reality like an empty dream. Yeah. Sometimes my soul cries as I look into the eyes of the sleeping masses, believing all the lies as time passes. Walking drones, looking at their phones, prisoners in their own homes. Wi-Fi routers and microwaves on the counter. Cook brainwaves, mush minds, no thoughts, no knowledge, no intelligence, no empathy. Social media has reshaped their identity. I have to keep in mind that they're not my enemy. Don't get next to me, but I have a lot of empathy. It's knowledge, wisdom was sent to me while their mind is racing. My mind is at a high elevation. The words and lyrics is not for the shaking. Scared, the weak of the forsaken. Souls taken by the system, programs in them you can hear when they speak. No wisdom, no light, no fight. Just NPCs sleepwalking light. Surrounded by sleepwalkers and NPCs, they all around us. But I be like, why can't you see? Empty seats, I'm gently mean. My soul's clean, no NPCs on the team. Living in this reality like an empty dream. No NPCs on the team. Living in this reality like an empty dream. The world is full of lies, hidden in disguise. It's made for you and I, all for humanity's demise. The elite, they despise. That's why you had to learn to read between the lines. Fake mainstream media guys, it ain't no surprise. They all full of lies, news propaganda at its best. Your thoughts, they will test. Executives with the text, subliminals with the hex. Boots on your neck, round and round the clock, they hope you forget. Mental neglect, running psychological operations all across the nation. Total mind devastation without any hesitation. It's time to unplug and sit down in a meditation. Slow the persuasion, deprogram, disengage. Break out the cage and change your ways. Your mind is stuck in days. Listen to your conscience and know what to say, because they're testing you each and every way. No dismay, no play, stuck in the maze. Break free, open your eyes so you can see. Whoa. The third eye, the sun sink. Illuminate heaven's gate before it's too late. High frequency vibrations will set you straight. No, America's not great, it's full of hate. But remember, get out before it's too late. Surrounded by sleepwalkers and NPCs, they all around us. But I be like, why can't you see? Empty seats, I'm gently mean. My soul's clean, no NPCs on the team. Living in this reality like an empty dream. No NPCs on the team. Living in this reality like an empty dream.
What's up, everybody? Back with another video, and I figured I'd do a stream. I'm still high off the energy that my brother Wise put out a little bit. He did a stream about half hour ago. Well, he ended the stream about a half hour ago. So I still got a little energy high from my brother. So I figured I'd come do a stream. It's not. I'm gonna do more of playing a video from the outside looking in. Now, the reason why I like to, because it resonates. You know, what he says resonates when you could listen to the message, but at the same time think of what's been done over here. Think of the stuff you've been through. Think of the stuff that you've been through on your awakening journey. Think of the stuff that you do in your everyday life. Think of how you exist. Because I realized this a long time ago, and I myself had to change my own mind. I had to unprogram, deprogram. I had to wake up, you know? And again, a lot of people are finding out, not more than many, but enough people have been finding out that you're not really awake. Most people ain't awake. Just because you know some things or the news expose it or these alternative medias expose it, like those, these people, they think they're awake, right? But you got to remember, the awakening already happened and they hijacked it, all right? When, I would say around, you know, 11, 11 to 14 in there was totally hijacked, all right? Because there was an awakening, all right? And they quickly, you know, corrupted it and used it. They knew it was coming. And they do what they do. You know? Think about it, how much of that, like we've discovered on our own journeys, not what we've seen, just like some that came to us, we went and looked and we found it, right? That's how it used to be. It wouldn't be, oh, I heard this, and then people share it, and oh, we're awake. No, 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 no. You know, because when I talk to the modern day 2026 awakened person, I think they know something. When they tell me shit, because pretty much anything, most of the shit they tell us, we already know. But the key is when they tell us something that we already know, you could simply ask them a question, okay, about what they're talking about to know that, okay, this motherfucker just heard what they, regurgitating what they heard. Because you already know if you found that out on your journey, you would have picked up A, B, C, and D. They coming with E. Like, okay, you got E. Yeah, sounds great. Beautiful. Sounds good. You know? But you forgot A, B, C, D, and E that you would have, A, B, C, D that you would have found before you came to your E conclusion. You know? Think about it. So, this new modern awaken, TikTok, Instagram, Reels awaken, they share some shit. Oh, we're awake. We learned this. Or, oh, we watched Tucker Carlson talk about, you know, this. And, oh, yeah, wow, I never knew that. Oh, my God. Wow, did you hear about that? Yeah. And then they go regurgitate like it's some newfound information, you know? So it's easy to, you know, realize that people aren't really awakened, you know? Because they're missing foundations, they're missing pieces, and that's just where we at, So I just had to throw that in there. Um, Again, shout out to my brother Wise, did a banging stream, real deep. Shout out to my brother. Um, so yeah, I'm still high off that energy. So I just wanted to go live. If you saw the end of the video I had, okay, it had a brawler keep right now. I don't know if it's happening in your area, but I know it's happening all over the country. But I don't know specifically if it's any in y'all areas. But with the little YNs, the little young niggas fucking shit up all over the country, all simultaneously. Now in Rochester it was warm, so you had these, the roaches. They come out. It always happens. But this year it was different. I mean, it got up to the 80s, 85. And they went. That's too hot. Coming from straight cold all winter, and you just turn the temperature up, the heated thermostat up to 85. Rochester going wild. We already know that. Rochester's going fucking crazy. Okay, but I seen news from around the country in places where it's already been hot, where the same stuff happened. Fights, all right, festivals, gatherings, whatever it may be, beaches, whatever. Restaurants, I saw one where they were in a Chipotle. Same type of shit. Kids in all black, just simultaneous. It all happened in the past week, you know? And I was just traveling through DC and I snapshotted it. Oh, wait, maybe I could put it here. Hold on. 1 second. Let me see if I can add it here real quick. I think I can. Let's see. And I've been sharing like things I've seen, but because the people in Rochester, that's just the land of the dead. They believe that it's a Rochester problem. I tell them all the time it's not a Rochester problem. What do you mean my connection? They won't let me up the phone, of course. But anyways, they're having a curfew in DC for the youth, a youth curfew in DC due to the uptick in violence that's been going on. Like the same type of mob type shit. Now this is happening all across the country simultaneously. And we've seen this, I think back in 2016, 2017, when the malls simultaneously across the country, everybody went to the mall and was fighting all of a sudden. All right? Same stuff. It's some kind of technology through social media, whatever, some kind of energy they put out that's happening. Okay, yeah, this right here. This is what I seen. I don't know if y'all can see it, but that was something that was going on in DC today. A curfew. I'm like, curfew. I'm like, it's kind of interesting. All right. And again, like, we gotta go. I gotta take it on a wise journey. You go deep into, the abyss. Now think about it. This is going on across the country in a lot of places. It's been going on in spring break too. All right, we saw the beaches and stuff, like the craziness, right? And think about it. Could they be using some technology? It's most likely that's what's happening. And then they're slowly getting people used to, you know, manipulating people to do this so they can do stuff like this curfew, right? Get people used to it for something bigger that's coming, to where they're going to have curfews, restrictions, and other things. I mean, it's just a lot going. It's so much going on right now that we can't stay on top of it no matter what we do. All right. And again, it boils down to, Wise was talking about it this morning. Y'all know that's all I talk about. The United States is over. That's the name of this video. You know, I mean, y'all gotta understand, man. It's a wrap, man. It's just how they gonna wrap up the game. And this is what people don't want to hear. This is why people don't come on my channel no more. Two people left a comment. One person emailed me. It's like, oh, I get what you're saying. I love your channel, but all you do, it ain't my fault you fucking stressed. Don't come at me because you stressed out and I'm not, screaming love and light and like, screaming the other rhetoric. No, I'm here to tell you this shit is done. I'm still in this same place with you, telling you it's over. Okay? It is done. There's no getting around it. It's over. The United States is closed. America is open. But the US, it's closed. And they got big plans for us. And this is what people don't want to hear. You know, people don't want to hear. Like you'll even see it'll be a certain amount of people here. Then when I go there, that shit just dips off. Because they're not trying to hear it. Truthers don't want to hear it. Truthers are doom scrolling. Okay? I did a dope ass song the other day about doom scrolling. All right? Truthers are doom scrolling. You know? They're looking for their next hit of truth to make them feel better, to soothe their mind, right? Of this American condition, right? This United States condition that we all under. We all under this, right? And this is what people don't understand. Like your whole perception is wrong from the world. You know, and that's why the videos I'm gonna play, you already know it's from Shaheed, right? The brother drops the most logical truth in existence that's happening right now. He delivers it in a way like I would put him in the same category as me and Wise. More like a Wise because he's more intellectual than I am at laying this shit down, but he's precise and direct on exactly what he's talking about. So you could put two and two together in A, B, D, and D, and then what you know with a deeper mind on top of that. So that's why I like to share his videos because he just be dropping it. But at the same time he's dropping it, you could go into your mental Rolodex of your programming, of your United States programming, and see, damn, yup, because you could just look at the truthing community. And you could look at your past, but you could look at where you thought you woke up and be like, damn, I ain't never even look at it like that. I ain't never even think of it like that. I've been told y'all, there's shit I know. I can't put that shit in words. I don't know. I can't put it in words. There's shit that I know that I can't portray to you because I just can't put it into words from what I see and what I know. You know, I changed my own perspective on everything. You know, that's why I've been coming with it. Y'all gotta let this shit go. It's just going where it's going. You gotta figure out on the other side. Don't be scared. Don't live in fear. I mean, shit. Everybody gonna die one day. You know, there's people that'll die for their block. They'll die for their rock. You know, people will die for their family. There's people that'll die to protect their property. There's people will die if, touch their family. There's people that'll die for their jobs. I'll die for my job, you know? So think about it. We all gonna die one day. Fuck it. Whatever gonna happen, gonna happen. We still gonna be alive and well because we know we don't really actually die. But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother video for another day, you know? And I mean, think about it. I mean, these are harsh, and I get it. People don't like to talk about this stuff, you know. Oh, it's all doom, but like, just like Wise was just saying, what do you want me to do? Tell you how good it? You want me to feed you? That's crazy. That we live in a time where, and this is why our perception is so fucked up. Everybody's perception is so fucking gone, right? Because we live in a time where people just want to medicate. That's why there's so many addictions. This place that needs to be destroyed, right, has so many addictions and so many like things that people need to escape. That's how bad it is. The condition is so bad that people are looking for every fucking reason to escape. You know? Even me talking like this is a way to escape. Me listen to a Wise, that's like a way, that's a way to escape for a moment. You know? That's crazy. We live in a place where we gotta just try to escape it just because it's so bad and we've been dealing with it so long. It's normal, but we know it ain't normal because our body and all our senses and our consciousness tell us, yo, this shit ain't right. And this is what it's doing to everybody. That's why so many people on drugs, so many people on, all kind of habits, can't think, anxiety. People got all kind of shit going on because this shit is morally wrong. This thing that's going on here is everything's wrong with it. And the thing about it, all that energy is now centered here. And they're trying to put that energy on us. And then what they want to make us pay for it instead of them pay for it. They want to enslave us. They want to lock this shit. They want to, man, if y'all knew what they had in store up the pipeline for us, you wouldn't be thinking the way you're doing. You know, if you ain't alarmed already, you, you should have already been alarmed before you were alarmed already. Just like why I said, this is what we've been waiting for. But I see a lot of people, that ain't what they've been waiting for. They ain't ready. A lot of people ain't ready. Me, I'm good. I'm ready. I've been ready. I told you, whenever they go down, what's gonna go down, man, we gonna be light as a feather. We might fuck around and get up and fly. We might start floating. That's how much weight will be lifted. Oh, damn, look at this going down. Because honestly, I felt good during COVID. I'm like, yo, I was feeling good. I don't understand the feeling, but it was a good feeling. Like, it was like, I really enjoy a society that is just not functioning like this. I don't know. I always have. That's why I always go to rescues. I like to help people. One, two, you meet actual real humans that disregard all of their attachments because the situation is dire. Like, that's always attracted me, you know? And I believe that's because it's just me sheds this barrier of control and it connects with human beings on a level. Any dire situation, man, people just, they don't care about race, religion, whatever you political beliefs. They don't give a, it's all about survival mode kicks in. It don't even matter, man. And those are the best situations. That's why I enjoy people talk, people come together, people just and they know that COVID was a huge test for them. Why you think 6 feet apart? You know, wear a mask, stay inside. They ain't doing that. You was the virus. They wanted to see how to manipulate your energy. Everything they do is to manipulate you, right? And when I play these videos, yo, he's hitting. I'm telling you, I put this brother in a category like us. Like he's right there. I'll be thinking like, damn, this nigga must be watching our videos and shit or something. But he just puts it in a whole nother mind frame outside with a dope ass intellectual delivery. And that's because the principles that he comes from are different from ours. you know? And this is one of the reasons why I said, you know what, I don't need, in my life, for my significant other, I ain't dealing with no Americanized minded person. That ain't even a possibility. 4 years now, I've been with my wife. She ain't got nothing to do. She is not Americanized at all, has no American values. And guess what? In 4 years, I ain't teaching her no American values. I keep her culture. I do shit like she do. All right. I'm into her style, you know? And that's the best thing I could have ever did. That's there's no relationship headache at all. It's beautiful. And that's when you learn, you know, the whole another side of how people think. Like, it's totally different, man. Plus, I know a lot of foreign people. I know Arabs, I know Indians, Mali, Bali, sorry, not Mali, Bali, Palestinians. I conversate on, and their perception is totally different. And they see everything wrong with this place, you know? And most of them want to leave. Turkish. Talk to my Turkish brother all the time. Matter of fact, I should get him to come on here right now so he can talk about how Turkey is, because he's alert and inept and he knows what the hell is going on. And he could tell you Turkey's point of view. Why they're going back to their countries, you know? I mean, it's so bad, but I mean, when your daddy is the government and everything in it, they trained you through their indoctrination centers. And I'm going to let the brother in the video break that shit down. I might skip around, get right to the nuts and bolts, because he just goes in. I don't even want to do the first one because he kind of tiptoes into there. I want to go straight to where he just going berserk, you know? I don't want to go in order because it's, 20 minutes, 16, 23, you know? And I didn't even see the one an hour ago. The void. I mean, he just gone in. I'm gonna go ahead, take a time out. Listen to this. Listen to this. I'll play the first one later because they're all relevant. Doesn't matter which one they're in. But since I kind of on that energy, I need to just go straight in, straight ham, because this is what it is, and this is how we gotta look at this place and the people in it from the outside. And this is where I've been already. I've already been like this. That's like years ago. Yeah, well, yeah, right. What the fuck are you talking about, man? What do you mean leave? What are you, a coward? I was into the truther shit. You coward. You scared. And then what does everybody say? Oh, it's gonna happen everywhere. Yeah, you think that shit if you want to. You think that if you want to. You know, there's a clear objective with this place right here. All right, 1776. 2026, 250 years. All right? No numbers and none of that gobbledygook shit needed. All right? No fake ass number garbage, none of that shit. All right? Just is what it is. 250 years. That's what makes me think like, damn, man, that 250 years, that's it. you know? 250 years, that's it. That's like 3 generations, wait, hold on. 1, 2, 50, 50. Let's just say 70, 70, 140. That's like 4 generations technically. And they overlap. 4 fucking generations? And that's it? Like, look at where this place came in 4 generations. You know? And we ain't taught the rest of the world. We don't understand the rest of the world. But when you do, like me, I know, obviously I have Asian family now, right? So, like straight Asian and the way they are is different. I know some Indian people, right? Different. Mexican, people from South America. I done met all kind of people. And I tell you what, they all have the same type of similarity. All right. Outside of the program of the Americanization, they're totally different, man. See, they don't want you to think they monsters. There's a monster in every culture, right? And you got to remember, some cultures they already done been through this. They already been through this. They went on a rebound. You know. But what I'm trying to say is, people have a different understanding, totally different. Basically, it's a different reality from American, and Americans don't understand that. But that's how we were trained and indoctrinated. We were indoctrinated to think this, so we could tell, somebody from Mexico, South America, whatever, or whatever, you know, and that's coming from some shit that we learned from this fucking government. Meanwhile, they don't even understand what the fuck. They don't even understand the concept, right? They don't even understand the concept at all. They got to learn the fucking concept. That's why they're so much better at working. They're so much better at networking. They're so much better at family, right? Are Americans good at family? No. Man, they taught Americans to put their elders in nursing homes, man. That is the worst thing you could ever do. I always despised that shit. All right? I always despise that. Like, nothing burns me up more than that, right? Nothing burns me up more than that. Nothing. You know what? My mom, my situation with my mom, we had fell out. But if I was to ever hear, right, before she passed, we kind of fell out, but we made up. I made amends with her before that. But if it was ever to come down where she had to go, oh man, I would have swooped right in there. No, that ain't happening. It would have been right. I would have did whatever I had to do, and that's how it's supposed to be. Americans fucking believe that's the thing. Oh, we can't take it there. Hospice, nursing homes, send them over because I mean that right there should show you how disgusting, nasty, dirty this place is, man. And they encourage you to do that shit. And what's even worse is the healthcare system right now. I was talking to my older friends yesterday. They're like not friends, family, you know. And the shit that they just told me, man, blew my fucking mind. Because they don't do the doctor shit. But they're older, they got insurance, but they go like once a year to get a checkup just to, you know, and what was done to them yet the day before yesterday was unbelievable. And that's how bad it is here. People think the healthcare system is like good. I mean, that this doesn't even rank in the top 30 in the world, man. And its job is to get you sick, just like my wife has said, right? In Taiwan, they pay for your health care. So you think that for 1 minute they want you to come there because they got to pay. No, so their job, they want everything healthy, all the healthy food, medicines, everything natural. So they don't have to, because they got to take care of you. See, here is the same thing, but most people don't know it. Like I try to tell them, I said, look, y'all paying $2,500 a month for their health care. I said, you don't need it. You have something. The healthcare is right in the hospital. Healthcare is free here. All right? It's free. But they don't tell you that, right? It's free. The government has to take care of its citizens. All right? They created all this shit. They got to take care of you. They double bill you. You know, every single person has insurance. Ain't one person that doesn't. That's why the hospital has to treat everybody in there. Why do they have it? Y'all got to understand contract law and understand the laws, right? If there wasn't no contract, everything here is done by a contract. There's not nothing that exists in this system that is non-contract. All right. You go to any facility, there's a contract somewhere. What's the contract? You already got health care. They ain't gonna tell you that, but you already got health care. I tell people that all the time. I ain't been to the doctors in forever. If I have something wrong, emergency room. Guess what they do? Top notch care. You go in there, you get everything, at the top notch, everything. And if something after, well, they send you over there. You know, they'll send you to a specialist. I got a friend. He ain't got the best of health. He ain't got no insurance. You know, you go there, they're gonna give it to you. They just try to double dip. They got to look at the laws. They got laws in place to where they can't do anything like seize property or put liens because you don't pay a hospital bill. It ain't even going on your credit. They'll try, but there's laws against that. Just look up the laws, understand the laws. You know. But again, I mean, this place, man. I mean, you gotta just face it, man. It's like when you know somebody in a bad relationship, you sitting there like, yo, man, why you going through this shit? This motherfucker treats you like shit, cheats on you, beats you, fucking robs you, does other shit to other people, cause all kind of problem in your life. Why you stay there? And the motherfucker just keeps staying there. That's the same shit with this shithole here. You know? You supposed to be like, look, like a bad relationship. Look, we ain't together no more, but right now, I ain't got nowhere to go. You ain't got nowhere to go. So look, we gonna be civil. Face it. We're done. No feeling, no remorse. Look, it's business now. I ain't gonna bother, don't bother me. We're good. Everything's done, right? Okay. Boom. You gotta do the same thing here. Till you make whatever move you gotta make. Right? But see, a relationship with somebody is different because, you know, there's not a fucking heat-seeking missile coming to blow that bitch up, right? It ain't gonna collapse. I mean, you got to keep paying for the bills and shit. Figure that out. But the analogy I'm trying to use is this shit is like a bad relationship, and you got to see it for what it is. It's bad. It's badder than bad. It's a terrible condition. It's a terrible condition on others. That's why everybody around you gets dumber by the day. People are dumb as fucking rocks, you know? People are like, oh, you know, but I still have hope, man. Hope been left. There is no hope, you know? There's no hope, man. Uh-oh. Whoops. Whoopsie. There's no hope, you know? Shit I'm talking about is like, it is what it is, man. It's stoic. You know, we're at a point of no return. You can't fix this. There's a point in society. I got the thumbnail. Hold on. Let me see if I can put this thumbnail up. This is where we're at. All right? We're at this point in society. Okay? This is just how it works, man. It gets to a point and it just where we're at. Face it, it's going there. And this is what it is. I don't know if y'all can see that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna delete that and I'm gonna make it better. Make it bigger so y'all can see. This is where we've been. I don't know if y'all can still hear. Uh, let me know if y'all can still hear me. I can see the microphone. All right, here we go. Oh, I'm gonna add this thumbnail. This is where we're at. And it comes up. This is where we at. Okay? You see that chart? That's where we're at. Right? That's exactly where we at. You got the corruption, then you got the democracy, populism, demagoguery, right? We're going to moral panic. That's where we're at right now. We're right at the bottom of that roller coaster, right? We're at moral panic. We're gonna get to the chaos, and that's when the revision to tyranny comes. All right? Because they're already making it and formulating to where this society is going to be ruled by mobs. I mean, this is, it just is what it is, man. This is how, we scream like these old names, communism, Marxism. Wise touched on a little bit, right? But it's going to be something different, man. It's going to be something different because when this country collapses, the corporations are already outside of it to reach back in and say, we're going to bail it out. But it ain't going to be a bailout. It's not going to be, America's coming back. No. What? Are y'all? You gotta you gotta have completely lost your fucking mind. No, 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 no. This thing comes back on some shit you ain't nothing even in existence right now to support what they got planned. Okay? We could say, oh, this and oh that, oh, it's gonna be surveillance and this, and then you're gonna have digitalized, man. Y'all wish it was gonna be like that. Man, these corporations got big, big, big plans. That's why they want to privatize everything. They want to make everything private. Private sector. They introduced that during COVID. The private sector. Oh, we need the private sector, the private sector, the private sector. Why? Because the private sector could push all their bullshit. Make you wear a mask. Tell you get fired if you don't get the shot, right? And for all the people that I'm gonna share this video in the group, fuck y'all retarded asses, right? I don't know how y'all can get. I got all the jabs because I don't believe in your fucking orange God, right? I don't believe in your orange God, you know. Which thank God that these people are getting smaller, right? Because they're getting ready to throw the MAGA puppet to the wolves, right? They're getting ready to exit stage right, like my boy Wise always say, exit stage right, you know, whether he gets murked off or humiliated off, it don't matter, you know. But what you got to understand is it's over, man. It's over, I kind of, me myself, I see the end game, but I don't try to. I just figure out the timeline. Fuck the formula. I'm just looking for the timeline, That's what I'm looking for, the timeline. And look, win is win, you know. But yeah, man, it's what's wild, man. But again, shout out to all you guys that's tuned in. Again, ain't nobody. Oh, there's I can't see it. What's good, Leonard? Shout out to you, Space Monkey. I know that's you. Golem, Exorcism. Gotta be you. You got a certain footprint. And Captain Capital. Can't see that right now. Shout out to you, Capital Blooded. Who else is up on here? You know, like I said, a lot of people they ain't like what I was talking about. I got a few messages and I got some emails from some people. They said, "Yo, man, we love much love, man." Da, 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 da. You know, they just ain't like it because I'm not about to feed the. It is what it is. So I ain't feeding the. I'm not the truther. I'm not. I ain't no truther. You know, I play with AI. I got Starlink, and so yeah, I'm not your truther. Don't lump me in with them fools. They're asleep. Keep scrolling, get your dopamine hits, your doom scrolling hits, and just keep it moving. You know, I'm still here. I still do what I do. I just do it on other platforms through different algorithms, shit like that. You know, but the same walls is closing in, and the same shit that I've been saying. And it is what it is. But anyways, I'm about to play a video. Like I said, man, I'm gonna get straight to the one where he just shredding ass and on the reality of things. And this is just is what it is, deep shit. So I'm gonna get a good part. Yeah, this one's short. Is the only thing that's keeping you safe. Wallahi, you had better hope and pray that the Muslims stay on our religion. Oh, if you have any sense at all. You can't hold us back. I'm gonna go up part two. And this is some real shit right here. This is deep shit. And this is true. You gotta look at it like that. It's a different understanding. People don't understand. If if people can't take themselves outside of their perception, this ain't for you. This is the message that ain't for you, because you can't think outside your box and mental prison that they have put you in. I can see it clearly. All right, I can see it clearly. Okay, and this is when the shit get real, because you gotta understand. You could tell, if you ever talk to a Muslim, real Muslim, that's what they about. You see how they move. They got a different understanding. But they know that you got to understand. Then you also got to understand the religion. That's why they want you to think it's so evil, right? Because they want you to do the dirty work. They want you to do their dirty work, because that's some powerful shit. Original Christianity is powerful, and Muslim Islam is super powerful shit. That's their biggest fears. Is Christianity and Islam. They intertwine with each other. Say what you want about it, you know, sun and moon, whatever. But they both do intertwine. But one has been destroyed and uprooted. One is the original that's always been, right? And them got some strong foundations. And when you know somebody that's into Islam, you can see those foundational builds right in them on how they act. You know, you got to understand Islam. People don't understand Islam. Be trying to talk to me about this and that, and about, Muslim, the Quran and the Islam, and Muslims are like, you need to do this. They need to get out of this country. Da, 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 da. They're setting up all this dumb shit, and don't realize these people don't even think like that. Like you are wasting your fucking breath, because one, they don't think like that. Two, I know the government put every thought in your mind that you got that's coming out your motherfucking mouth. You know? And I can tell them, I know you won't go to a mosque. I went to a mosque plenty of times. I had a partner when I used to sell cars with a Turkish guy, right? Well, I went to the mosque a couple times. Met heads of the mosque. I used to sit in the office, in a Christian, and a Muslim guy used to sit there, and they used to go back and forth having friendly debates all day. And I tell you what, which one is more of a upright human being? Definitely wasn't the Christian guy. So it is what it is. But anyways, let me play this video.
You've been Nazis everywhere that you went. In fact, the fact that you single out Hitler just proves your hypocrisy. It just shows exactly what you're really about, what you're really like, because the only unique
It's about to start. It always plays a segment of the last video. It's about to start.
It wasn't about the violence, not the violence. There was nothing unique about the violence. You never objected to the violence. You objected to it being the wrong victims. See, you think that if you condemn Hitler and you condemn the Nazis vehemently enough, you think that you can trick the world into misinterpreting that condemnation as if you are condemning what Hitler did. But you did what he did to people all around the world. You have no problem with genocide. You never have had a problem with genocide. It just depends on who is getting slaughtered. The transatlantic slave trade, where you forcibly removed approximately 12.5 million human beings from Africa over the course of 4 centuries, and millions of them died on those ships in transit over to you, and their survivors, their descendants, were subjected to generations of systemic dehumanization until today, legally, institutionally, religiously justified and upheld by that so-called civilization that produced your so-called enlightenment, your declarations of the rights of man, your universal human values and so forth, your Bill of Rights. That same civilization, that same people at the same time, in some cases, the same individuals who wrote those beautiful words, those founding documents, they themselves owned other human beings as property. And you now, revisionist, you call it a contradiction. It's not a contradiction. It is the operating code expressing itself very clearly. You have no problem whatsoever seeing your fellow human beings as objects. You literally do it all the time. You really should be honest about this. You should be honest about this and about yourselves. You know it's wrong. You know it's horrendous. You know you should not be this way, but that doesn't change you. Just knowing it doesn't change you. Just knowing what civilized people are like does not itself make you civilized. You understand me? Just knowing what morality is, or that morality is a thing, that doesn't itself make you moral. Your so-called civilization is a certain kind of a way, and it has made you that same kind of way, and you have to recognize this in yourselves. But I know you won't. I mean, there are wrongs that you have committed that literally cannot be undone, that cannot be made right. And when there cannot be restitution, there can only be retribution. You understand me? Because the debts have to be paid one way or another. I mean, in North America, like I've talked about before the Europeans came, the indigenous population of that continent was estimated to be over 100 million people. And by the end of the 19th century, the US Census counted only 250,000 or less than 250,000. How do you fix that? How do you make that right? Whole indigenous nations wiped out, erased, gone. Who would you even pay restitution to? You were a cataclysm. You were an apocalypse for those people. Do you understand me? The survivors were placed on reservations, which are by another name, concentration camps, before that name or before that term was created. And your culture produced cowboys and Indian mythology. You understand? Cowboy and Indian mythology. And you turned the genocide into entertainment. And you taught it to your children as adventure stories. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I don't think you even understand. I don't think you even can understand how monstrous this is. And in the 20th century, within living memory, just the last century, the century of your so-called modern post-enlightenment human rights declaring civilization, the West, you produced 2 world wars and killed estimated 90 million people in those 2 world wars combined. The Holocaust, that was nothing but where your character and your instincts intersected with your technology. That's all that was. And Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you vaporized civilian populations in just 2 flashes of light, wiped them out. And until now, you rationalize it. The napalming of Vietnam, 3 million Vietnamese dead, 3 million people dead. Agent Orange contaminating the gene pool for generations until now. Then you had in the 1990s, the sanctions against Iraq in the 1990s, where the United Nations itself has to.
So you see how much damage that we forget that have been done by the hands of the people that put their energy into voting. And you ask a voter about this shit, they'll say, "Well, that was that was before." Don't realize it's the same fucking system, the same fucking power, same fucking energy. Just think about that, man. And think of what we sitting in. It's 300 million so-called people in the United States. And you know how many bodies, right, that these people that run this place got on them? Man, it's crazy when you think about it. So for people to think that, I mean, ain't none cut. I think this place might have the worst that this planet has ever seen coming to it from what it's done. And the same people that did that are going to do that shit. That's the crazy part. Because the countries, they don't think, when you hear war, you think Russians, Iranians, Iraqis, Afghanis, all these places, Vietnam, Japan, you think that these motherfuckers think like this? Think of all the civilization they don't wipe the fuck out in countries they took over. Ain't none of them countries ever try to do anything in retaliation. For what? They're not gonna, they know it's an entity, it's not the damn people of the country. But American, they think, oh, we gotta go to war, we gotta protect our nation. From what? The fuck is wrong with y'all? From what? Who? Where? Where the boogeyman at? They create the fucking boogeyman. Where the boogeyman at? You know? Think about that. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but where are the videos of foreign people bullying Americans? Beating up on Americans? Where are the videos? I'm sure, there's people get angry and shit like that, but where's like where you see Americans doing to people? Like that same mentality happens down on a small, single, individual, low morale scale of Americans, U.S. citizens that do that shit to people. Where is it? You know? Anyways.
That you killed and intersected with your technology. That's all that was. In Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you vaporized civilian populations in just 2 flashes of light, wiped them out, and until now you rationalize it. The napalming of Vietnam, 3 million Vietnamese dead, 3 million people dead. Agent Orange contaminating the gene pool for generations until now. Then you had in the 1990s the sanctions against Iraq in the 1990s, where the United Nations itself estimated that you killed over 500,000 Iraqi children, and your Secretary of State, so-called, at that time said that the price was worth it. The camera said it on record. She said it was worth it. Sure, you might disavow what she said, but you don't disavow what she did, because you didn't stop and you don't stop and you're still doing it until now. And now, right now, you have live streamed in real time a genocide against the people of Gaza. And the truth is you don't care. The truth is you don't care at all. I know you've got your protests. I know you have your marches. You have your online crocodile tears. I see it. But the only thing that you're really upset about, this is the truth, is that you're being confronted with the reality of the complete disconnection between what you say and what you do, between what you tell the world you believe, what you tell the world you believe, and what you inflict, the barbarity that you inflict upon the world. You're upset about being exposed. You're upset that the lies about your so-called civilization are being exposed in 4K. It isn't, this should not be happening. We shouldn't be doing this. We can't be seen doing this. It hurts our credibility. Do you understand? No one in the world believes that you actually believe in the principles that you talk about. No one believes that. Because everyone in the world has experienced the brutal reality of how you really are and what you really believe in. You're literally, you only care about your self-perception between each other, because you never cared about how your victims see you. You never cared about our opinion at all. You just don't want to look bad in front of your own people, meaning you don't want you want to keep the facade up so that you can keep telling each other how civilized you are, how advanced you are, how sophisticated you are. It's bad form, you know, to be caught on camera violating every single principle that you all pretend to believe in. It ruins the illusion. It spoils the collective role play. It's a mood killer. No, we're not the same. We are not the same. We are not allies. And Muslims need to understand this. Muslims need to understand this. You know, just like how a non-Muslim can never understand Islam, a non-Muslim understand Islam or understand the Muslim world properly, because they will always view it as an outsider. So they will always superimpose their own biased frameworks, their own limited understanding upon whatever they are observing. That's how you get Orientalism. In that same way, Muslims can never really understand the kuffar. That's true. Muslims can never truly understand the kuffar. We're always going to project our values onto you, values that you don't actually have. We're always going to think better of you than you are in reality, because there are standards of morality that we just presume about human beings. You understand? We can't fathom that there are actually people on this earth who do not, in fact, live up to those bare minimum base level standards. And this has gotten us into trouble many, many times, these assumptions. We've gotten fooled many, many times. We've gotten conned many times. We trusted and we let our guard down, and we got ambushed too many times exactly because of this. There are things that your civilization does casually, frivolously, that are the subject of entertainment, subject of dark humor and jokes and light conversation at your dinner tables and whatnot. Things that have been normalized in your society so thoroughly that the people who participate in them feel nothing, feel no shame, register nothing, and move on without a second thought, and no one thinks anything about it. And those same things to us, to people operating from an actual moral framework, to people with a functioning conscience that is calibrated to a divine standard, those same things are monstrosities to us. You understand? It's not cultural differences we're talking about, not value disagreements. We're talking about atrocities. And you don't see it. That's the terrifying part. Not that you do them, not just that you do them, but that you are incapable of seeing how bad it is.
The interface is moral looking, but the operative code underneath is something else entirely. And Muslims need to understand this. This keeps you all in a state of constant cognitive dissonance. You know, just like with your credit cards, you know, like actually in reality, you're poor. You're literally impoverished. That's the reality. That's the reality. But your credit cards let you live the illusion that you're not poor. You can live above your means by way of rollover debt. You're living a life that you cannot actually afford in reality. It's a mirage. You can't afford a car, but you have one. You can't afford groceries, but you've got a full refrigerator. You can't actually afford to eat out, or you can't afford to get takeaway, but you still keep getting food delivered, don't you? Anyway. You shop anyway. You buy on Amazon anyway, or TikTok shop anyway. Without your credit cards, you would be begging in the streets. So you understand you are earning one kind of life, but you're living another kind of life by means of debt. Until you actually think that you're middle class. You actually think maybe even that you're upper class, when actually you're supposed to be living in a van down by the river. You understand me? It's the same with your so-called morals. This is what I'm telling you. It's the same with your so-called morals and your so-called principles and values.
And that's
You want to be
what he said was 100% true, because people don't understand the money system. They don't understand credit. They don't understand debt. They don't understand half the shit, right? And he's 100% true. If you took all of that away, all the loaning, the credit, people would, this would be a poor and rich society. That's it. There would be no middle class. The middle class is upheld by debts, debits, and credits. That's it. That's the only way the middle class is upheld, by credit and debits. Debt and credit. Nothing else.
to live the illusion as if you have them, but you do not have them. You know, your credit cards make it look like you're financially stable when you're not. And your fake moral claims, you can make yourself look like you are civilized and you are decent when you're not. I'm just telling you the reality. Again, as a witness, I think it's horrific. I think it's horrendous what has been done to you, what has been done to your minds, what has been done to your souls as a people. Objectively, it's horrific. And I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to lie about it just because you might get offended by being told. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but like I say, I know that that is the basis upon which you decide who is or who is not your ally, who does or does not support you, or who does or does not care about you, not on the basis of truth. So I know that you won't hear me. So let me say something to the Muslims specifically, very important, because the Telegram group, in the Middle Nation Telegram group, someone mentioned seeing a Western Da'i talking about we have to get past this us and them mentality. He said, you are us and we are you. This is an interfaith dialogue. I'm telling you, that's a treacherous statement he made. That's a treacherous statement. It's an incredibly dangerous and naive fantasy to believe in. And like I said, thinking like that has gotten Muslims into all sorts of problems in the past because we underestimated the danger of the people that we're dealing with. So let's be upfront about this. We're all human beings. Alhamdulillah, we're all human beings. We're all part of the same human family, the children of Nabi Adam alayhi salam, no doubt about that. But we are not the same as them. No, there is an us and there is a them. Both of those things exist. And we can say that without it being a hostile statement. It's not adversarial. We say it as a statement of fact. And we, as Muslims, we understand that us and them can coexist. Our history demonstrates that.
Now this is where he about to go real deep, right? But what I want to pay attention to is showing you the perception that most people in the United States can't even understand. This is probably going through a lot of people's ear and out the other side because they have a mindset where they cannot think outside of an American mind framework. Just can't. They just don't they just like, this is shit that can't even be registered in the brain. But he's about to drop some wild shit.
For centuries, under genuine Islamic governments, non-Muslims lived with documented protections, and them can coexist. Our history demonstrates that. For centuries, under genuine Islamic governments, non-Muslims lived with documented protections. They lived with legal rights. They lived with functional institutions of their own, and with the freedom to practice their faith and to govern their own communities by their own laws. Yes, we even gave them that, not as a courtesy, but as an obligation, a divine obligation that is written into the architecture of Islamic governance. I mean, until today, subhanAllah, right now, today, there are literally more churches per Christian in the Muslim world than there are even mosques per Muslim in the Muslim world. There's even more churches per Christian in the Muslim world than there are churches per Christian in the West. When Salah ad-Din retook Jerusalem in 1187 after 88 years of Crusader occupation, what did he do? He ransomed the Frankish inhabitants, he negotiated their departure, and he protected the Christians. He protected the Christian and the Jewish holy sites, what they regarded as holy. And he even released the people who couldn't pay their ransom. And when he retook the city, he sent his own physicians to go and tend to the sick among his enemies. This is all documented. This is all historical record. That's how we are. Alhamdulillah. We are a magnanimous people. We are a merciful people. That's us. Contrast that with what happened when the Crusaders, when the Christians took Jerusalem in 1099. You don't have to believe us. The chronicles of the Crusaders themselves, their own accounts, written by themselves in celebration, describe the massacre of the population. Muslims, Jews, and even other Christians, Eastern Christians. They said that the blood was up to the bridles of their horses as they rode it. That's your civilizational comparison. Their own chronicles, that's your own source, okay? That's them. That's them. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam entered Mecca, after years of persecution, after years of torture, after years of exile, the murder of his companions, the boycotting of the Muslim community, when he finally entered in full authority with 10,000 Muslims, he issued a general amnesty to all the people who had done all of that to him in the past and to the Muslims in the past. And he didn't do it as a strategy, he did it as a command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's your civilizational comparison. That's us. See, for us, we can recognize and we can acknowledge that there is an us and there is a them without that becoming us versus them. You're the ones who made it versus. You insist on making it adversarial. We don't. You insist on making it adversarial, not us. You insist on making it adversarial every time, historically and right now. Your civilization doesn't know how to leave people alone. You don't know how to leave other people alone. You will not stop until we have adopted your way, your epistemology, your values, your frameworks, your definitions. No, assimilation is the price of your tolerance, and it always has been. You don't know how to coexist with difference. You only know how to crush it, how to co-opt it, how to eliminate it. The Quranic injunction, lakum dinukum waliya din, to you your way, to me my way, that's actual tolerance. That's real tolerance. Not inclusion that is contingent upon ideological compliance. I practice my faith, you practice your faith. You govern your community, live according to your values, and I will honor the covenant between us. And if any harm comes to you, we will protect you and we'll take care of you. That's the framework that Islam produced. That's what we live by. What your civilization produced was, we will tolerate you only as long as you become exactly like us. And if you don't, we will demonize you and we will attack you. You and I both know that that's the truth. You're coercive by nature. You're domineering by nature. You don't think that's what it is because you have been the dominant power for long enough that your coercion feels like the natural order of things to you. It doesn't feel like aggression because anyway, you have no moral framework that would even objectively allow you to define anything that you do as wrong. There's a moral void at the center of your civilization, at the center, at the foundational core. And all the things that I was just talking about, the incarceration, the addiction, the loneliness, the child abuse, the sexual abuse, the rape, the industrial scale degradation, that's not a system that's failing. This is what you all need to understand and reconcile your with. That's the system functioning as designed, extracting, consuming, moving on. This represents your culture. The system represents your culture. It's not a violation of your culture. You're a terrifying civilization. You are a terrifying civilization. Terrifying not because you're powerful. Power is morally neutral. It doesn't matter. You are terrifying because you are powerful and morally unmoored. You have some of the most devastating military capacity that's ever been assembled, but you have no genuine, binding internal restraint on how it's to be used. That combination, operating across 5 centuries, has produced a history of global terror and global savagery, such as the world has never seen before. And now you want me to be your ally? You want me to sign on? You want me to join your coalition, stand with you? Well, who in God's name could ever do that in good conscience? You don't need allies, you need exorcists. That's the truth. You don't need allies, you need exorcists. And you want us to assimilate, you want us to secularize, you want us to modernize, you want us to put the Quran down and pick up your values instead. Are you sure? Are you sure? I don't think you're thinking this through, not even slightly. Listen, Islam is what is protecting you. I'll say it again. Islam is what is protecting you. Our adherence to Islam, our adherence to our religion, to the Quran, to the Sunnah, to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to the Islamic frameworks of ethics, the Islamic frameworks and principles of restraint, that's what's keeping you safe from us after everything that you've done, after the Crusades, after colonization, after Iraq, after Afghanistan, after Palestine, after Somalia, after Syria, on and on and on. After the theft of our resources and the destruction of our civilizations and our institutions and the manufacturing of failed.
You see, now, there's something I wanted to add to that or say. This is where people don't understand. It's not like, okay, United States, what they've done to all these Muslim nations, right? You know, they just did this, and you're like, oh my God, oh, that's why they got to come out and propagate that they're the enemy, right? They got to propagate, oh, they're the enemy, to get you to hate them because what they've done to them, right? Their restraint is because of their religion. That's exactly what he's explaining. And you go back and you think about it, that's why they got to create. Oh, they're trying to attack us. Oh, they're going to blow this up, blow that up. No, that's not what they're going to do. And then they try to spin it into that's what their religion tells them to do. No, it's not. That's not what their religion tells them to do. Fuck you mean? That doesn't even make any sense. They will protect themselves, of course. They already know that. But as far as going after like go blow up a country or blow up innocent people, that shit's a figment of your imagination. That is created, manufactured. That's why they gotta always scream the hate them because they're so dangerous at this, and they're a threat to us. No. We all know the saying, the person that's always got the biggest mouth pointing the finger at everybody else is the one that's doing the shit. Simple ABC 1, 2, 3 you need to know. Elementary shit. The one who's always pointing the finger, saying this and they doing that and they're the end, this, that. You gotta look at them like, wait a minute. What they done did? They ain't find a damn firecracker. They did all that, everything he just told you, they ain't find a firecracker through TSA. Why? Because they're based in their religion, because they're patient and they know what's coming. They understand it. It's like a storm. He's even explained that in another video.
States, after the drone strikes, after the torture programs, after Abu Ghraib, and the ongoing present tense dispossession of our brothers and sisters, and the genocide in Gaza, not to mention your atrocious crimes that you committed against others. And that list, if we went down that list, it's too long to even recite. After all of that, and with full awareness and knowledge about all of that, we're still here. Still operating within the limits set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and choosing patience and choosing the deen over our feelings. And you want to take us away from that, really? You want us to operate like you? You want us to act on our racial and our ethnic and our nationalistic identities without the moral guidelines of Islam? Do you understand the Ummah is approximately 2 billion people? That's about 470 times bigger than the population of the United States of America. The entire Western Bloc. You're talking about the United States, you're talking about Europe, you're talking about Canada, you're talking about Australia. You combine all of those people, it's maybe around 1.1 billion people. Well, the Muslim world is nearly double that. And these are not people, we're not talking about people with the Muslims who have abstract theoretical grievances. These are people with living memory, you understand me? With parents and grandparents who experienced what was done, who remember what was done, parents who lost their children because of you, with ongoing present tense wounds, open wounds, real, documented, verified, undeniable wounds, going back for centuries and continuing until right now. I'm telling you, what stands between what we have suffered and vengeance on a catastrophic civilizational scale is nothing but Islam. The Quran and the Sunnah, the divine command to prefer patience, to prioritize stability, to pursue coexistence, to exhaust every alternative, to honor our agreements and to protect the innocent, to restrain our hand even when our hand is justified. Do you understand me? That is what is holding us, not your intelligence agencies, not your counter-extremism programs, your de-radicalization initiatives in your think tanks, your academic departments doing studies on Muslim anger. You know, you're actually out here trying to stop Muslims from following Islam, while Islam is the only thing that's keeping you safe. Wallahi, you had better hope and pray that the Muslims stay on our religion, if you have any sense at all. You can't hold us back, 2 billion strong. No one is scared of your bombs. No one is scared of your drones. No one is scared of your attack helicopters. You've seen that for yourselves. Muslims don't fear death. No, we obey Allah. And that's what's keeping us calm and controlled. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not hold us back, if our commitment to Islam did not hold us back, nothing would. Think it through. If you had any sense whatsoever, you would actually be funding programs to strengthen our Islamic knowledge, not disconnect our people from it. Believe me, you do not want to see 2 billion Muslims acting like you.
That's deep. That's some deep stuff right there. Very deep stuff. We're gonna roll on to the next one.
What people outside of your pit, what they're saying, what they're thinking about, how they're talking about the world. Even if you wanted to, you can't, because you can't access them linguistically.
Oh, hold on.
And all of those 6 companies have the...
My bad, I was already...
And if we speak up for you, understand, we're not doing it for you. And we're not doing it because we think that you're good. We're not doing it because we are your friends. We're not doing it because we are your allies. We're doing it because it's right. And because it is our duty. So understand, we are never on your side. No matter who you are, we are never on your side. We are only concerned, exclusively concerned, with being on the right side. So like I said, understand what I mean by them or by us and them. Because very often, I've noticed this in the comment section on my videos. People often think that when I talk about them, I just mean so-called white people. People think I'm using Western as a euphemism for white. That's what many so-called minorities in the West think. And usually so-called white people think that by them, when I say them, I'm exclusively referring to the people in power, the rich.
Now this video right here is a good video because he breaks down the perspective and the issues of how bad we've been programmed and how bad people are programmed. Like this is broken down like 1984 style. So check this out.
Referring to the people in power, the rich, the government, the billionaires, and so forth, the elites. Sometimes they want to tell themselves or they want to believe that when I say them or when I say the West, I mean Jews. No, them means them. It means you. Them means you in the West. So-called white people, so-called black people, brown people, rich people, poor people, people at the top and people at the bottom. It means everyone who's coming out of the West. The people who run things and the people who don't run things. The people who are run by those people. Elites and everyone under the elites. You understand me? You know, when I was talking about all those statistics, all of the internal dysfunctions in that society, all of the heinous behaviors that go on in that society, that's not just the elites, that's not just the billionaires, it's not just those in power, that's not just so-called white people. Think about what I'm saying. Try to think through what I'm saying. It's not an indictment of a particular group. This is civilizational. This is cultural. This is systemic. It's across the board. When we talk about the origins of it, okay, when we talk about the origins of it, that's another thing. And I'll talk about so-called white people and so-called whiteness. I'll talk about Europe and so forth. I'll talk about that in a minute. And obviously, there is a power structure. There is the power structure in that society, the enforcers of the indoctrination, the enforcers of the programming. But I'm talking about the effects of all of that, not just the ones who are in charge of it, but the impact that it has had on the people. And there isn't a single one of you over there in the West who has not had your natural self mutilated by that culture and by that society that you came up in. It warps the way you think. It warps the way you process information, the way you see the world, the way you see yourself, the way you see others, the way you see life, what you prioritize and how you prioritize, how you frame things, the mental options that you see, the way you see morality and so forth. Like I said, it has affected and it has infected all of you. How could it not? I mean, when we talk about psychological decolonization, for example, when we talk about psychological decolonization, we're talking about excavating the indigenous mind from Western programming. And that's talking about people who are living in their own countries outside of the West. So even people in all different parts of the world, people in different parts of the world have been affected and have been infected. So what about the people who actually live over there, live their whole lives over there in a completely contained and insulated, controlled environment, subjected for generation after generation to myths and propaganda and fairy tale versions of history, subjected to simplification, manipulation, self-justification, rationalization, indoctrination, and stupefaction. Literally, generation after generation. Your grandfather was born and raised and lived his whole life. Your father was born and raised and lived his whole life. And you were born and raised, and if you don't do something about it, you're going to live your whole life basically at the bottom. You can think about it this way, at the bottom of a very deep and a very narrow well, a pit, a hole in the ground. And you only see from inside that pit. That's all you know of this world. You never saw the land. You understand? You never saw the trees, the mountains, the rivers, the sea, or anything. But the last generation that lived and died down there, they told you that this is all there is. So you now have a very skewed perspective. You have a very skewed version of reality. How could you not? How's a human being supposed to develop like that, in a situation like that? No, I'm not talking metaphorically. Understand me. I'm not talking metaphorically. When I say indoctrination and I say brainwashing, that is exactly what I mean. I'm not speaking metaphorically. I'm not trying to be dramatic or hyperbolic. I mean that a deliberate and a sustained process has been applied to the population of the United States of America over generations, using every single institution available to produce human beings who cannot think outside of a pre-approved set of conclusions. Human beings who do not think like most of the people in the world think. You understand me? Who don't behave like most of the people in the world behave, and whose view of the world has almost nothing whatsoever to do with how this world really is. I mean, what is indoctrination? What is indoctrination actually? It's not just when someone lies to you. You know, someone lies to you and maybe you even know that they're lying. That's just lying. You can deal with that. You can deal with that. No, indoctrination is when someone gives you a false picture of reality and you accept it as reality itself, not as a perspective or an opinion about reality, as the actual thing, as actual reality. You think that you're looking at the world and you're actually looking at the walls of that narrow pit that you're in. And you think it's the horizon. You understand me? The reason that America is so effective, why this is so effective in America, specifically in America, is because they have more resources, more technology, more reach, and they have more incentive to do this than any other society in human history. It's essential to their whole project. I mean, just look at the machine that's got you trapped. Look at the machine that's got you trapped. The machine that has had your brain, has had your heart, has had your mind trapped your whole life, tightly trapped your whole life. Your life, and like I say, the lives of all of your predecessors. They've had you in a vice grip. I'm telling you, you're just like a lab rat in that country. Yes, just like a lab rat. And they've been running an intergenerational experiment on you, injecting your mind with hallucinatory drugs, mind-altering narcotics, shrinking your cognitive functions little by little by little. Again, generation after generation, watching how you mutate, studying how badly they can deform you, studying how much of your humanity they can graft off of you, how much of your soul they can deflate before you become completely inert. You know how Jeffrey Dahmer, he tried to inject chemicals into the brains of some of his victims because he wanted to see if he could turn them into automatons, turn them into zombie sex slaves. Well, Uncle Sam has been doing that to you. Uncle Sam has been doing that to you. That's right. You're not a population, you're a science project. You're not a nation, you're a psychological experiment to see how much you can take and still be human. I told you that the way you are itself is evidence of what has been done to you. And it has been done systematically. I mean, who owns the information that you receive? Think about that. You know, you go to your phone, you go to your television, you go to your radio, you go to your newspaper, you go online. Where's that information coming from? What's the source of that information? Did you know that it's just 6 companies? 6 companies. In 1983, it was 50 companies. 50 companies controlled most of American media. And that 50 companies, that's already a ludicrously small number. But by the time you got into the 2020s, that number was down to 6, only 6. 6 corporations control about 90% of what 300 million people watch, what they read, what they hear, and what they think about, and what they talk to each other about. 6 corporations. And each one of those corporations is owned by people who have very specific interests. And those interests are not your interests. And those interests determine what you see and what you don't see. Every single day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, they're determining what you see and what you don't see, and what you think about what you see. The overwhelming majority of you can't speak another language besides English, so you are captive customers, captive consumers to them, consumers of controlled media because you're monolingual. So you can't find out what people outside of your pit, what they're saying, what they're thinking about, how they're talking about the world. Even if you wanted to, you can't, because you can't access them linguistically.
See, this is what I've been telling people about how we're actually more. They try to say, oh, China's isolated. Guys, we're isolated. We don't know what's going on in the world. We're totally isolated. I figured that out years ago. You know, when I met my wife, but she used to tell me what, I'm like, wait, what? And show me the stories. She used to be like, wait. She's like, is this true? And I'm like, what? I'm like, or she'll show me something. Wow, this is crazy. I never know this, you know? And then I'll see stories. She'll be like, is this true? And I'll look at her like, no, that ain't true. Where do you get that from? You know? We're isolated from the world, you know? And I should say this for many, many years. All you got to do is look at when there's something going on in the world stage, the U.S. is never there. And they also have, I forgot what hand of the government goes to these world things that represent the United States that we never even see. The people never see it, but we literally have U.S. representatives, right, that go. Just like your state representatives. You got U.S. representatives. Most people don't know what that means. That means they go around the world and represent the United States. And you never hear about these motherfuckers. Because, one, all those news medias are never going to go there because the world knows that they don't report news. You'll see like 20 microphones all up there, news media all across the world. You won't see CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, none of that shit. And that's because we're isolated. I've been telling people that for years, like, we're isolated, man. Like, they're literally, for all we know, Ukraine, Gaza, Iran, Syria could be wiped the fuck out. Right? We ain't gonna find out about it until 10 years later. We won't even know. It's like I said, like, they might already be in reset mode in all these countries, and our turn ain't come yet. Think about how would we know? How would we even know, man? You know? Because when they get to these countries, nobody's traveling there, coming to and from them, you know, like Syria. Syria was isolated, man. Now look at Iran. Look at North Korea. You know, I mean, it just is what it is, man. You know, like look at Ethiopia right now. You don't hear nothing about Ethiopia, but they're killing. They done killed over 2 million people. Okay, they're cleansing Ethiopia. You don't hear about that. You know, when you talk to people, foreigners, they know all about this shit. They know all about it. It's crazy, man. Back this up a little bit.
Overwhelming majority, if you can't speak another language besides English, so you are captive customers, captive consumers to them, consumers of controlled media because you're monolingual. So you can't find out what people outside of your pit, what they're saying, what they're thinking about, how they're talking about the world. Even if you wanted to, you can't, because you can't access them linguistically. And all of those six companies have those six corporations have overlapping interests. They have the same shareholders. They sit on each other's boards of directors. You understand? They have the same advertisers that they're all trying to keep happy. And this is the thing about advertising. If you don't know, advertising is the main source of income for almost all media. The advertisers. The advertisers are the real customers. You are the product, actually. You're not the one that they're selling to. You're the one that they are selling. They're selling your attention. They're selling your time. They're selling your purchasing decisions. That's the product. That's you. The content is just the delivery device, giving you over to advertisers. That's what they're delivering. That means that the version of reality that you are consuming every day is just a mechanism for luring you into the arms of these corporations, into the arms of these advertisers. You need to reflect on the ramifications of that. Where does news actually come from? When you watch the news and they say, according to official sources, or they say government sources report, or the Defense Department spokesman says such and such, who do you think is speaking to you right now? When you listen to that, who do you think is speaking to you? You understand? The government has entire thing about advertising.
Y'all hear me? Is it clean? Let me know. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Do it like this. Let me know if y'all can hear me. One second. One second. Let me know if y'all can hear better now. Let me know. Let me know if you can hear better. I'm gonna rewind it a little bit. Better? All right, let me rewind this a little bit. This is important. I think this is an important message we got going here. Oh shit, it ain't gonna work like that. Cause I'm connected in. Let me see.
I don't know if it's gonna work. Now I don't know if it's gonna work. I had to switch. My phone is hot. So try this again. Put the phone up, but it got a little warm. One second. My phone is warm. All right, let me know if you can hear me now. If I'm good. Get back on. Let me know if you can hear me. Charge the phone. I think when I plug this thing, it makes it charge. Good? Good now? Okay, good. All right, cool. All right, we're going to get back into it.
If you know advertising, it main source income for almost media advertisers. The advertisers are
Having technical difficulties.
corporations have overlapping interests, same shareholders on each other's boards of directors. You understand?
Oh no.
They have this.
Stat. All right, what y'all was talking about. All right, let's try it again.
So you can't find out what people outside of your pit, what they're saying, what they're thinking about, how they're alone spends more money on public relations than most countries spend on their entire military. The narratives that the media repeats.
Here we go.
And they say, according to official sources,
We're back.
or they say government sources report, or the Defense Department spokesman says such and such. Who do you think is speaking to you right now? When you listen to that, who do you think is speaking to you? You understand? The government has entire departments with hundreds of employees with budgets running into the hundreds of millions of dollars, whose only job is to produce the narratives that the media repeats and that you consume and that you absorb. The Pentagon alone spends more money on public relations than most countries spend on their entire military. Okay, that's called state-run media. If anyone else did it, that's what you would call it if anyone else did it. And as far as journalists are concerned, so-called journalists, journalism, by the way, used to be a blue-collar job. Back in the day, journalism was a working-class job. You had low pay, you had long hours, you couldn't take leave, you were on call, you understand? Now, journalists are just PR agents. They're marketing professionals. They're part of the power structure. That's a white-collar job now. So they just repeat the story that the power structure gives them because anyway, they're part of the power structure. I mean, increasingly, you'll notice that they always use anonymous sources these days as if that's a valid source. They don't even bother. Their sources nowadays are just a euphemism for their own incentives, for their own interests. They themselves already know what sort of a line they're supposed to be giving you because, as I say, they're part of the power structure now. They're part of the power structure. They have the same incentives as the power structure. So they already know what sort of a story they're supposed to give you. Who needs a source? We don't need a source. I'm telling you, I worked in PR for many years. I worked in PR, I worked in media strategy. I've met and I've known a lot of journalists, and you will never find in your life any people who are less informed, who are less educated, or who are less interested in what's happening around the world. All of the so-called journalists, wallahi, all of the so-called journalists that I ever met are the most empty-headed, vapid, clueless, trifling people and the most indoctrinated people that you'll ever meet. They've got more products in their hair than they got brain cells in their head, I'm telling you. And you're tuning in to them, getting your news from these people, the least informed people on the planet, and they're supposed to be informing you. They're not informing you, they're forming you. You understand me? They're not informing your views, they are forming your views. But the media isn't the only layer. That's just the 24-hour rinse and repeat cycle of the brainwashing, the news. The foundation is education in that country. That's the institution for installing the mythology, the American mythology. You know, that version of America that's taught in school, at every school in that country. You know, the founding fathers. The founding fathers were visionaries of freedom. The conquest of the continent was a big, brave adventure. It was beautiful. It was admirable. The extermination and the displacement of millions and millions of people was called just pioneering. They were brave pioneers. The enslavement of tens of millions of Africans was a, you know, complicated historical chapter. It was maybe a bit of a blotch on our reputation, but eventually it was corrected by how good we really are. And every single war that America has ever fought was a war for liberation, for humanitarian purposes. And every atrocity that they ever committed, if it is ever acknowledged at all, that was a regrettable mistake. And always done with good intentions, always done with the best of intentions. We regret it, but you know, it's an anomaly. It's something that doesn't really reflect the real values of the country. Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. That's what they're teaching you. George Washington and the cherry tree. I cannot tell a lie. Give me liberty or give me death. The first Thanksgiving, the first Thanksgiving. All fabrications. Johnny Appleseed. Do you remember that one? You know, Johnny Appleseed, some happy-go-lucky, big-hearted pioneer sprinkling apple seeds across the post-genocide American West to give all those brave settlers apple trees to eat from. Look at these fairy tales, these fables that they tell you. Do you know that was a real man, by the way? John, I think, Chapman. And he planted apple trees, he did, but for profit. He was a land speculator. You understand? He planted those trees as a way of claiming property. Land of the indigenous people, after they had been ethnically cleansed from that land, he planted trees there, and then he claimed that land, and then he sold it to the settlers for profit. He used the apples to make alcohol. Your history is like if Santa Claus was based on a real person from history, but in real life, that person was a home-invading pedophile rapist, and you mythologize him as a jolly old fat man giving presents to kids. That's your history. That's what you do with your history. Or you turn a baby-eating rat into the Easter Bunny. That's your history. That's how you do. The alchemy of turning blood into Kool-Aid. And then you all drink that Kool-Aid just like in that Jim Jones cult, committing mass mental suicide. You're not taught anything about your actual history. You're given a story like if Jack the Ripper was turned into a Disney romantic musical film. I mean, speaking of Disney, have you ever looked into the source material for those films, for those movies? They're grisly. I'm telling you, they're macabre. They're sadistic. But you don't do like normal people would do, you know, shudder and recoil and bury those demented stories as far as possible from the eyes of children. No, you pretty them up. You pretty them up. You make it cute. You put a ribbon on it. You sugarcoat the cyanide. Exactly the same thing that you do with your real history. Exactly the same thing you do with your real history. You have picnics in the shade of lynched bodies. I mean, many of you know that they lie about your history. You know that they lie about your history, the history of your country, and beyond that, in the history of Western so-called civilization. You know that. Like telling you that Athens and Rome invented democracy and what have you. While there were democratic or proto-democratic political systems in India, there were proto-democratic or democratic systems in Turkey, in Carthage, which is modern-day Tunisia. They had that hundreds of years before Athens did. You know, many of you know anyway, that your whole history is a lie. You know that. But you don't think about what that means. You don't think about what it means. Understand, it's like if you married someone who has had extensive cosmetic surgery. I mean, they changed everything. They've changed everything. Everything about their face now is completely unrecognizable. Everything about their face, everything about their body, they literally changed everything, okay? To now, they are completely unrecognizable from how they naturally look, okay? You know that they had procedures. You marry them knowing that they had procedures. You know that they had work done, right? But it doesn't occur to you. It doesn't occur to you that since you don't know what they really look like, since you don't know how they used to look like, you don't know what their natural appearance really is, it doesn't occur to you that you now have no idea whatsoever what your child is going to look like. You understand? If you have a child with someone who has completely changed their appearance beyond recognition from what their genetics, how their genetics made them look like, well, you don't know how their genetics is going to make your child look like. You understand me? But you should at least know, you should know that any child you have with this person is not going to look anything like the version of that person that you've got. You understand me? Well, that child could come out looking any kind of way. There's only so much your genes can do. You know? Well, he's got my eyes, but I have no idea where the rest of that came from. You understand me? Just like genetics. It's just like how genetics are real and have a bearing on reproduction. You understand me? Just like how your cosmetic surgery is not going to change that, it's the same with your history. Your actual history shows you who you are as a people and as a so-called civilization. No matter how much plastic, no matter how much silicone, no matter how much filling or what have you, no matter how much mythology I'm saying, no matter how much propaganda, no matter how many fables and fairy tales, no matter how much you Disneyfy your history, no, your cultural genetics are what they are, and that is what will be reproduced. Not the cartoon, sculpted, surgically enhanced version of you that you like to tell yourself you really look like. I keep seeing people get angry when they see people online using those AI filters to make themselves look more beautiful, to make themselves look younger or more fit than they are and what have you. But I'm telling you, you have been catfished by your whole history. You were looking up at a picture of white Jesus and you thought it was a mirror. You thought it was a mirror. You have no idea how hideous you really are. You've never seen yourself, how you really look. See, they teach you history. You want to learn history. The reason why you want to learn history, or what you can learn from history, is pattern recognition. And through that pattern recognition, you understand your people or any other people, how they operate, how they behave, how they act, how they, what they believe in, who they are as a people, as a nation, right? So they taught you that Disneyfied history, and they fabricated that fraudulent pattern of virtue and heroism that you think is American history. So you would think that that's what you're like. You would think that that's what you stand for. And they did all of that to cover up the real patterns, the real beliefs, the real behaviors, the real so-called civilization. Because the real history, if you look at the real history, the real pattern is catastrophically consistent for America throughout their history, for the West overall. And that is what it is. It's a pattern of pillage, a pattern of cruelty, a pattern of greed and inhumanity. And every instance that you point out, if you point out an instance of that inhumanity, they'll say it was an anomaly. Well, they've had one anomaly after another without interruption for centuries. That's called a pattern. It's an anomaly if you don't attack someone. It's an anomaly if you don't torture people. It's an anomaly for you if you accidentally, through no fault of your own, completely unintentionally act according to your stated values. That's an anomaly when that happens. Don't get defensive when I tell you that. Don't get defensive. That's not the solution that you have been trained to think it is. Defensiveness, deflection, denial, blame shifting. This is not a solution. That's a trained reflex. You can't disavow all of the evil that your so-called civilization, their barbarism that they have done. You can't disavow that and also at the same time be defensive about it. I'm trying to tell you about the architecture of your confinement. Please understand me. I am not just telling you about how your so-called civilization is. I'm not just telling you about that, how it is, how it always has been. I'm also telling you how it made you this way and how it keeps you this way. How it enforces, how it warps, how it mutilates you. I'm telling you what makes you them instead of us, how it stunts your development as a human being, as a moral human being, an intelligent, coherent, mature human being. I'll tell you again, wrongdoing harms the wrongdoer. It is self-oppression. When I'm telling you all of the horrific ways that you have been as a society or across history, all of the unspeakable things that you have done as a society, and all of the ways that you have lied about that, I'm trying to make you aware of the situation that you are in. Because it's a very dangerous situation. It's a miserable situation. It's a degrading situation. It's a humiliating situation. This is the only life that you have. Do you understand that everything is going to testify about you? Everything, not just everyone, everything. your limbs, your body, your tongue, even your mind. SubhanAllah, the trees and the stones, all of nature, the earth itself is going to bear witness and testify about you. Don't you know that the earth, the ground that you walk on, the very ground that you walk on, feels a kind of way about you? There are people who die, and when they die, the earth is relieved that they're gone because all they ever did on the earth was wickedness. You don't want to be that, do you? You don't want to be that person.
That's a deep one. I ain't never heard that one. The earth is glad that you're gone. It makes a lot of sense. Like, yo, that's a deep one right there. I gotta run that back. I'm gonna use that in one of my songs. That is a deep one right there.
To bear witness and testify about you. Don't you know that the earth, the ground that you walk on, the very ground that you walk on, feels a kind of way about you? There are people who die, and when they die, the earth is relieved that they're gone because all they ever did on the earth was wickedness. You don't want to be that, do you? You don't want to be that person, do you? I can't believe that you would want to be that. No, that's why they have lied to you. That's why they have dumbed you down. That's why they have impaired your cognitive abilities. That's why they have made you that person while making you think that you're not that person that the earth will feel relieved of when you die. You don't want to be like that. We don't want you to be like that, but your so-called civilization wants you to be like that. Your society wants you to be like that. They want you to be that person, and they have made you that person. Your society, your country, your culture, your so-called civilization is not what you think it is. This is what I'm telling you, and you are not who you think you are. And if you think that I'm being unfair, if you think or you feel attacked by what I'm saying, you are missing the point exactly the way that you have been programmed to miss the point. Scrutinize your reflex responses to what I'm saying because they have been trained into you by that very society that I'm talking about. I'm not just talking to so-called white people right now. Understand me. Don't comfort yourself with that assumption. I'm not just talking about your power structure. I'm not just talking about your elites right now. I'm talking about everyone who has been basting in that toxic chemical spill of a culture. I'll get to white people. I'll get to that. I'll talk about that. Just stay with me.
That's powerful. I'm powerful. That's some powerful crap right there. You know, ain't dropping nothing but the truth. When you look at this society, on how we were bred, raised, taught, schooled, trained, you know, think about it, how bad it is, man. They dumbed us down. Look at society now. Nobody knows what's going on or could even comprehend what's going on. And when they actually recognize it, they don't want to comprehend what's going on because what? It's too damn dark. Just got done talking about that on Wise channel. It's too dark. They don't want to. They don't want to hear it. They want some more nullification. They want some more something to hide it. You know? So yeah, man, I'm probably I had another stream. I was gonna do another playback. I mean a live album listening. So I might push it back later. But yeah, that's all I got for right now. But shout out to everybody who tuned in. Thanks to my brother Wise who gave me the little energy to, inspired me to make this video. So shout out to that brother. And yeah, I'll talk to y'all later. Much love.